Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Mainnet 2024 by Masari, and joining me for this segment, we have Paul Greweal, Chief Legal Officer of Coinbase. We're here to discuss the crypto regulatory environment in the U.S. Paul, it's great to see you again. Welcome back to TradeTalks.
Nice to see you, Jill.
All right, you got it. And where do things stand right now with Coinbase and the SEC today?
Well, with the SEC, we are in active litigation on a number of different fronts. The SEC has brought an enforcement case against Coinbase, much as it has brought an enforcement case against so many other members of the crypto industry. And that case and that suit is proceeding. We expect to see that continue into 2025 and perhaps even beyond. But at the same time, Coinbase has brought its own affirmative case against the SEC. And we were delighted to be able to present oral arguments to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals just last week, which were very encouraging. And so there are many different fronts in our court cases against and with the SEC, but we're confident that over the long term, we're going to get to the right result and a better place. And that means sensible rules for Coinbase, sensible rules for crypto.
Right, well, let's talk about the industry for a moment here. What can the U.S. do from a policy and regulatory standpoint to maintain leadership in the digital asset space?
Well, the rest of the world is certainly not waiting for the U.S. to get its act together. It's racing ahead with sensible rules and standards that provide clarity and certainty in ways that are very attractive to crypto entrepreneurs and developers all over the world. The U.S., for its part, can do a couple of things. One is pass legislation immediately that would define a market structure for crypto and assign jurisdiction to this SEC and the CFTC in ways that are much more predictable and much more workable for the industry. And at the same time, stablecoin legislation we think could also help bring a certain clarity and stability to the market that is currently lacking. And even as legislation needs to be passed, we think there are important rules for crypto that the SEC in particular could and should adopt that will, again, provide clarity and certainty in ways that have been lacking for too long.
Yeah, well, you certainly don't want to see the brain drain or lack of innovation
Exactly.
because of a result of lack of framework. You know, it's interesting, Paul, last year I don't think that we would have had the conversation around the crypto voter, right? And now it's a national scale. What do you think they will have an impact on the election?
The crypto voter will absolutely have an impact in this election. Look, the reality is that 52 million Americans have now bought or sold a digital asset. And through efforts like those led by Stand With Crypto, we've now identified something like 1.4, 1.5 million Americans who have designated themselves as crypto advocates. What all that translates to, Jill, is a core group of voters, particularly in swing states, that are going to vote on crypto, if not exclusively, then as one of their key issues. And what that means for any candidate, whether it's somebody running for president of the United States, or for the Senate, or for the House, they're going to have to pay attention to those crypto voters if they're going to win a close election. And we think that's going to happen in ways that are going to be very, very important.
Right, when you think about it too, because there are so many jurisdictions within the U.S., I mean, it could start to be, a local and state issue as well, because financial services are, in fact, each state has its own set of laws.
Yes. Now, states matter, and that in the United States we absolutely have a dual system of state and federal regulation that's important, and we think that at the both state and federal level, the issues that are important to crypto voters are going to be recognized this fall in the election. Crypto voters want to see more options in the financial system. They want to see rules for crypto that promote investment, even as investors' protections are maintained. The fact of the matter is that the current approach of the SEC to this market, to regulate this market through lawsuits rather than litigation or rules, is undermining the confidence of voters across states, and we think that in both state and federal elections, those voters are going to express their frustration with that approach.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see where we are next year when we have this conversation. Appreciate the insight as always, Paul. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me from Mainnet. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.